Over on our far right, we have our vertical line. We have a bottom and a top divided in half. Don't use a ruler though, just freehand. In class we use freehand. And divide it into quarters. And then divide it into 8. And the bottom is 0. This is 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet, and 8 feet. And at 5 feet, we're going to put a horizon line, our eye level. And in choosing that, we're telling the viewer that this is the best height in order to view what we have to show you. That's the height of our eye level, and the 0 is the floor line. And 8 is the ceiling. Now the usual height for a table is 2.5 feet, but this is something a little different. It's stainless steel and it comes right out from the wall. We're going to put it at 3 feet, so that's a 1/2 foot higher than your kitchen table. So let's bring 3 feet across. And we're going to put a chair beside it, or a little bit of a stool, really, beside it. So we need to leave some room. It's a little ledge that sticks out from the wall. Let's make it about that wide. And you're just estimating how wide to make it. And it has a bit of a backsplash, a little bit of a area here that's stainless steel. Now, to bring it out from the wall, the best way to do that is actually to judge it on the floor. So let's walk it down to the floor, the width. We'll walk the floor down to the width with a dotted line. And now we need a vanishing point. So let's put our vanishing point over here. It could have gone anywhere. It could have gone over here, anywhere along that horizon line. But when you choose it, you're telling the viewer that that's the best place to stand to view what I have to show you. Okay? And now we can start at the bottom, because this is the least distorted side. When you're looking at something, the part that's the furthest away from the vanishing point, when it's that close, is the best way to judge without too much distortion. If it was that far away, it would not be good. But this is okay, so we'll do that. So let's go across. You can do a phantom line till you get to this point. And then we want to come out. Now this should be a dotted line. And we can judge. So we don't want it to come out too far. So we'll say about there. I'm going to say about there. I think that should be okay. And now we use our vanishing point again through here. Okay, so we've got a box on the floor now, and a box on the wall. This is just an estimate, and I chose here because it's less distorted than here. It gives me a false reading. So once I'm out here, I think I'm pretty good with that. So now, to bring it out, I need two things. First of all, I have to bring it out from the wall using that vanishing point, but I also need some verticals. My thinking is if I don't have my verticals up, then I'll be in trouble. They seem to have to come first for me. I have to have them up, and I go way too far with them. Don't space your dots out too far like this, otherwise you won't have anything. Because if this vertical isn't up, I won't know how to use the perspective line, because the perspective line is going to cross it. So let's do that now. We're going to project these 2 points that give us our width. We'll project those across. This is a solid line now, but you can do a phantom line till you get there. And do this one. Now both of these angles are different. They're both different. And use your whole arm, everyone, because if you're just tickling with your wrist and your fingers, you're not going to get what you need here. Okay, so there's my 2 places, and I just bring it across. Now, this should be straight, fingers crossed, it was straight, because it's the same distance from you throughout its whole length. It's only when something is receding, like the side here, that we actually need the vanishing point. Now this little thing, it has a thickness, so this will give your work an authenticity like nothing else when you put thicknesses on. So often, even with windows and windowsills, people forget to put thicknesses on, but you really do need them. We also need a thickness to the back, that little backsplash, so we better add that in. And the top, we have to put a top on, even though it's very tiny. Okay, so there's our little table suspended against the wall. And we can have some things sitting on here. We could have a cup of coffee, and a saucer, maybe a folded over newspaper. Now make sure with your newspaper, if you're going to put a newspaper or a book, that it looks smaller in the distant area and larger in the foreground. So you just make that little shift. And see how overlapping helps to describe this surface the best. Make sure though, when you put your cup or saucer or whatever you're putting there, you put it in front of this line. It can overlap when it becomes tall, but it has to be in front of that line, sitting on the surface. Okay, there's a couple things. Maybe we have a dessert. Maybe that's an ice cream sundae, the strawberry on top. Yum. Now we need a stool or a chair to put beside it. Now normally our seat height is 1.5 feet, but if we bring 1.5 feet over, or 18 inches, wow, that's just way too low. So we've got to come up higher. Let's go 2.5. 2.5. We'll bring 2.5 feet over. Let's design it against the wall and bring it forward. In an elevation, we'll design it. Whatever height the back of your backsplash is, make the back of your chair a little bit higher. So there's the back. It's going to come up a little bit higher than there. My seat is going to be there. Back will be there. And remember, this is just a sketch. It's discovery. So what you might be discovering is that your figuring is a little bit strange, and that's okay. And it's going to have the one leg, the two legs, and then it's going to go round and sit like that. Okay, so I've designed it as an elevation the way we designed this. Now we have to pull it out onto the floor. So let's start on the bottom. I'm most comfortable. It's the most obvious thing to see. So it's gonna give us everything else. So let's start from there. And I think I'm going to use this same depth. You can decide if that looks good for you for a seat width. Now, I tucked this under the seat itself. My seat is a little bit wider, so I've got to bring that down to here and bring it out. Okay, so now I know that when I make the top of this, it's got to come out like that. Okay, now sometimes this extends back further than the chair, but let's leave it the way it is for now. And we'll bring the back forward. So from the top of the back, we'll bring that forward. And here's the bottom of what we want the back to look like. And see what I mean about not having verticals? We don't have any verticals up yet, so that's going to cause us problems. So let's bring those up. We'll bring the seat forward. So every line you made here, every dot, the thickness of the seat, the height of the top, the bottom of the back, the height of the top of the back, you need to bring those forward, and they've got to meet a vertical. So this vertical coming up from this front corner is going to give me the depth of the seat. And this front corner right here, remember this is the width we chose for the base, so that'll give us the front of the seat, the side of the seat. Okay, so now I have to bring this forward. There's the thickness. So you see how now I've got a little box out here, like a pizza box. And that's for my seat. I can see through it though, and I won't want to later, but for now I can see through it. This now is the bottom of the chair leg. So you have to imagine that that line isn't there anymore, and we just have it like this, a tube that goes down from the seat and around, and then around the back, and then around the other way, and then up. So it's tubular. Kind of goes with the stainless steel little item up here, our little table. So we went from that elevation of the seat, we brought it forward with the vanishing point, but what was most valuable were our verticals, because without them we wouldn't have been able to end the seat. The vertical from the ground, that's what gave us the end of the seat. And it gave it to us over here as well, because this overhangs. Okay, and now we'll bring the back forward. Now the back could be attached here. That seems okay. We'll attach it from here. And this is working out. We've got the back here. Now from this point of view, we're seeing the back of the chair. We're not seeing the front of the chair, but that's okay. And this you would round it out and make it plump and cushiony and nice. But just at this stage, we want it to be, this we could fill out, make it nice and fat, and we could make it even round at the back if we wanted to make it round. So you see, there's no real problem with having the pen lines. You just make more aggressive lines over top when you discover what you want. And this will have little rivets or something to hold it in place. So we've got our little table now. We've got our little stool. What we're missing is our person. Now remember, this will show you, you see, why the people are so important. Just our sketch person. We're going to put the lady in because she's easy to scale. We'll put her eyes on the eye level and draw her in. If you need to refer back to the page, refer back to the page. Maybe she's carrying something to the table. And we'll put her skirt. And you can make her very light until you get what you want. Maybe she's got a saucer here with donuts. And she looks proportionate. She could hop up onto her stool and she would be just fine. So that's what she's doing her job.